13th floor. The 13th floor.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing. I'm your moderator, B. Jones, and we got our BFBG back on the podcast this week, man. What's going on, Space Invader?
Yo, I am sad that I was gone so long, but I'm happy to be back. It's a great time in the Northeast. I'm changing my environment, my settings. For those who watch this on YouTube, you're going to see backyard podcasting with art.
Backyard Boogie this week with Faison.
Oh, yeah.
DJ, welcome back as well, sir. It's been a minute.
Hey, man, I'm just glad to be back. The schedule of life has had me running the streets like crazy, not be able to make it, but we here. Let's get this thing popping, man.
Yeah, man, we here. And our resident DJ Barry B. Fresh, our main man in crypto. What's going on, sir?
You know, the foundation is always staying strong. We here, we ready. Let's get another exciting week popping.
Yeah, man, let's get it popping, man. These Sunday morning conversations are great, man. We're going to start it with Bill Cosby. Got hit with them, 3 counts?
Peel the thrill, baby.
Sad, man. Sad day, man. I've read the transcripts. I read the transcript probably about a year ago, like the depositions and everything. So I already kind of seen it coming. But it's sad because he's so old having to deal with these issues, and the victims, you know, how they tried to shame him during the trial and everything. And then this huge icon, this huge beacon in our community has now, you know, torn himself down basically, and basically shamed every part of his legacy due to the conviction, and now may end up having to spend the rest of his natural life in prison.
Well, I'm curious if he's actually going to see real prison time. You know, while I know Martha Stewart did go ahead and check out those white collar doors, I'm very curious to see if Bill is actually going to do some real time. But on a larger scale, I'm torn because I 1,000% understand and know that, you know, rape is a crime. It's horrible. 1,000%. I'm just very curious of the timing of everything, especially with I'm definitely a conspiracy theory, type person who will, you know, look into those situations and seeing things like when Michael passed, he was trying to buy, I believe, Time Warner. When Prince passed, he was trying to buy Warner Brothers, I believe. And then Bill Cosby, now with all of this, was right around the time he was allegedly on the way to purchase NBC. He was trying to purchase NBC, because that's always been one of the things, saying that there is no large Black-owned media company. And so all of these legends at the time that they were supposedly about to, you know, make a purchase of one of the largest media companies that there are, and various large media companies at certain times, that their huge demise, you know, is apparent, you know, whether it's death or it's a situation of this, which of course, him being guilty of the crimes that he did do, he deserves to be punished. I just always find it kind of odd at the timing of everything. How was this not discovered, you know, way sooner? And how is it so strong to be able to come out right now when there was that moment?
I gotta agree with that too. I mean, everything you said makes a great conspiracy book for someone to read it, and you can dig deeper and go through the process. But I'm still thinking about how this opens a gate for that timing. Like, all these things happen when drugs and sex and everything else was like a part of the culture and what it was. And I talked with my wife about this the other day, and she's like, well, you know, you're not victim shaming, and I would never try to do that for the victim, because that's that if they didn't want to do that, that's fine, and that wasn't cool for them. But then I rewind back, they're going to open up doors to all, I mean, Studio 54 was nothing but drugs and sex and that. So they're going to go back there and say, everybody who was there, you're all going to come back now to the court and you're going to drag you all in. Like, there's so much thing that this can happen from this point that can drag on and open up, that it just doesn't seem, it seems like it's just not If it happened in the 90s or in the 80s where it was after that point, okay, no problem. But these are all cases from way back then that's been pulled forward. And it's just confusing to me. It's just weird. I just don't understand.
The old cases he didn't get hit with because of the statute of limitations. The case that he got hit with is the one from 2003. I think it was someone at Temple University. I can't remember her name, but
Yep, that's what started it all.
That started again. Okay,
yeah. So the 2003 is what he got convicted of, and obviously that's not outside the statute of limitations.
that is not.
But
Okay.
the I guess onslaught of accusers thereafter, to propel the case for the young or the woman from 2003 is where it started from. So he got his just for that, and I think everything just compounded. For me, I hope it just doesn't stop with Bill Cosby though, because he has to pay a pence for his crimes, but you still got the Harvey Weinsteins, you still got the Matt Lauers, and it would be a tragedy for our justice system to take it to Bill Cosby in this instance, but not afford those accusers for Harvey Weinstein, Matt Lauer, etc.,
And
the justice they're due.
that's just another level in my, conspiracy theory beliefs, as far as the same thing is going on with these gentlemen. And while they have been, removed from their public positions, they have not found the scrutiny and case judgment so swiftly as Bill Cosby did. And I understand we're still talking about this happening, the case that got him happening in 2003, or the issue that happened, the rape, excuse me. But it's still, I always have an issue with how conveniently quick they are to be able to persecute us, as opposed to how conveniently slow the process can go for other people. And that's really and really at the end of the day for white people, that's really the thing that pushes my conspiracy beliefs so far. Is just, I'm not by any means trying to condone Cosby. Like everybody on here and many more, I feel Cosby was a part of raising me, but it doesn't stop the questioning of how it's possible to go on so swiftly, how, the scrutiny is at such an interesting time, and I'll say alleged time, because I do have people who tell me that all that's BS. Of course, Cosby wasn't about to buy nothing. He just, was out there doing his thing or whatever else you want to tell him. But I do, even in seeing and listening to the stories back in the day, and even of the shows that he created, Cosby, while he apparently was doing all of these dark things in the background, you cannot deny the quality and the importance of, the shows that he created, and especially the times that he created. And he was not, a drugs, money, females type of person, at least on his shows. Obviously, behind closed doors, there was a different situation, but it's just all, like I said, it's just very odd. Conspiracy theories are floating around.
I think that's really important to identify or to go with, because it's like Dave Chappelle said in his stand-up, he rapes, but he saves. Bill Cosby in that show, excuse me, Bill Cosby in that show set the mold for what the black family could ascend to, and then with Fat Albert, and then the Black History YouTube channel that he had. So he was very, very influential in certain areas of our upbringing, our life, our community. And it's a shame, like I said earlier, that all of that is somewhat tarnished. But for me, I'll never forget those things. You'll never forget the impact that the Cosby Show had on you in the upbringing, in spite of what Bill Cosby has been proven to be guilty of at this point.
And just real quick, I was going to say, I encourage everybody to, Eddie Griffin was doing an interview, and he just talked about how all of our black legends, they try to tear down. And I mean, you can go down the list, Michael Jackson, his accusations with children, Bill Cosby, Prince. Like you could just go Michael Jordan, even as far as gambling. Like you could just go down the list of Black heroes that they try to. Especially one thing that we always talk about is modern day, leaders and people who kind of, in a sense, had that opportunity. They always find a way to tear them down. Even like so many people follow Kobe. That rape case follows him everywhere. Still to this day, that there are people who try to not allow him to do things based off of that case from I don't even remember how long ago.
A lot long ago that was.
Yeah, but there's always that undertone, right, of let's figure out a way to tear them down. That's one of the reasons I respect LeBron so much. Because
is it always let's figure out a way to tear him down? Because
or give him something to and then expose what's was there.
Because you got Kobe, who did what he did with the white girl in the hotel room. You got Bill Cosby, who was doing what he was doing, which was probably a natural occurrence in the 60s or 70s when everybody was on the Quaaludes. But even for that case in 2003 to come up, you gave people reasons, like you did your dirt, and like J. Cole said on the album, what's done in the dark will come to the light. So I don't think it's necessarily we're certain or give them that.
Very true. Very true.
So this whole thing, I think what everybody said is people have their opinions. It doesn't really matter which way you fall, because opinion is opinion. Everybody has them based on your background and how you see things. But I think one of the biggest things is that a lot of people just forget, and we've had this conversation in other circles, to separate the art from the artist. And that no matter how big, and especially in TV and sports and whatever thing we have our heroes, that a lot of times they excel because of a specific thing. But we forget that people are human too. And humans have faults by nature. No human is perfect. So no matter how we want to look at the situation, at the end of the day, society puts a judgment on people. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong or bad. If you did it, you did it. That's not for me to judge at all. And a consequence should be paid if there's evidence for it, I believe. But when you look at, I think a lot of perception is that because we grew up with Cliff Huxtable, we didn't grow up with as Bill Cosby as the man, is Cliff Huxtable as the dad, as the friend, the kid's father, the father we always look for or strive to, like, hey, he's a great father, or why can't our family be like that? It depended on everybody's situation. Grow up, they had a different view on it. But what the man did as Bill Cosby is something totally different that we did not see in everyday life. And just to point something out real quick, when Ian mentioned something about buying, I had fact check real quick. It was back in '92 when Cosby first started talking about buying NBC over from General Electric at the time. I didn't even know General Electric owned NBC back then. But that was back in '92 when all that started. And then over the years, things had just built up where he was about to actually do it.
Yeah, and what year was Ennis killed?
Give me a second, because I thought about that too.
Yeah, unexplainably killed on the highway.
1997.
Yeah, and that's my thing is again, I would like to reiterate, because I don't want anyone hitting up the show thinking that me or anyone else is trying to at all condone any of the wretched things that Bill Cosby did. However, again, I just am always curious about the timing of things, and especially when it's the potential progression of our people at the end of the day, that there are a lot of interesting things that have happened over the years. Correct. At convenient times that all of a sudden destroyed the opportunity for an evening of the playing field.
Correct. And that's my thing. And that's why, look, I told Brett, I said, look, man, Bill Cosby, I really don't have much to say because we don't have all the facts. And I like when we're able to present facts and bring it to our audience. And in this case, we don't have all the facts because there's got to be more out there. there is more evidence and more proof of the rape of a people and of a civilization and of a culture by this country than we know all the proof of what happened to Bill Cosby. And we're not having reparations talks. So it's hard to compare because you still have the victims, but it's very clear that we have the memories of what this country, this institution did to Black people, to slaves, over hundreds of years. So I'm not saying that because it was so many years ago that it can be excused, but I'm just saying if we're going to put all the facts out on the table and we're going to hold people accountable for things that happened decades ago, well, let's go ahead and jump into what happened centuries ago.
And that's not to excuse him. It's to say that there should be more persecution then and on a stronger level than the convenience of being able to persecute minorities at a larger frequency.
Like you said, the Harvey Weinsteins are where there's actually, I don't want to say hard evidence because I think that kind of devalues some of the testimony and everything. And again, I'm not fully invested into all the transcripts and all the happenings of the case, so I don't want to put myself out there like that. But when you have a situation like that and you see, well, how we haven't even heard anything else about that man in the last few months after everything kind of bubbled up and he kind of stepped down from his position or was forced out of his position, and then it kind of just subsided. So if we're going after one, it should be a legal pursuit of everybody in that situation.
Exactly. Before we move on to Carol's favorite topic, Kanye, I want to talk about the broccoli convention a little bit that happened this week in DC, man. First of all, I gotta dispel one of the biggest rumors surrounding this festival, the Broccoli City Festival, because for whatever reason, everyone thinks that it has something to do with marijuana or weed, and that's so far from the truth. It's actually about sustainability, green living. They had a lot of speakers or sessions on business ownership, networking, social entrepreneurship, and it's really good. I actually want to make sure I get tickets to actually go to the conference next year. But the festival itself was pretty fun, pretty amazing. I got to see Art's girl Cardi B perform for the last time.
Cardi
out there popping that thing. But the whole event, it was crazy because I guess it was smaller the last few years that they've had it. So this year it just exploded, I guess, because when we were going in, just to get into the event, you have like security lines and everything, but it's like a sea of people. It's almost like Moses leading the people from Egypt, man. And you get to a point where people are like hopping over the fences and security is trying to keep the guard gates up and everything. And somebody just like breaks one of the guard gates and the security is just like, F it. And everybody just walks straight past the security lines, no checkpoint. So if you came in with the heat, you were just in there. But it was a pretty good time. I mean, the festival itself and the concert, I think the best acts came on early, like Daniel Caesar and her. I did get to see the Migos, Cardi B, and Nipsey Hussle. But yeah, even their set was a little short, and then it was cold.
Mike's man. Mike's over there like, who? Aruda what? And what? Little who?
Right.
But to segue into Kanye, Nipsey Hussle came out there and gave Kanye the credit he deserves, I guess, and had him up on the big screen with his FDT song, man. I sent y'all the video in the chat. Maybe Fresh can throw it up here in the video or whatnot.
Wow.
But we had Kanye West over the past week, man, really active on Twitter in support of Donald Trump, or what people perceive as his support for Donald Trump. He got his MAGA hat going hard. I think he got it signed by Trump or something like that. And then he drops this song with T.I. This weekend, Ye versus the People. I don't know if all of y'all got a chance to listen to it. Mike, go get Dez and Lil Michael, man. Get you up on the game. But I want to get y'all thoughts on it, man, because I think Kanye is going through a little situation right here dealing with his mother, and I think that's what's driving it after I've done a little research into it. But I want to get y'all thoughts on the song, his commentary over the past week, and is he really Kunye West, as some might call him?
Wow.
I
You want to go,
swear.
Art?
They can have Kanye. I'll take Eminem, and then we good.
No, I don't need to go. I'm just Kanye West caught me off guard. It was just I didn't hear that one yet.
Oh yeah, it's out there big time.
You know, it tears me because I am a Kanye stan. I believe in his genius, and I understand and know that mental health issues are real, and it is definitely something I feel that he is facing over time. And I 1,000% believe it all started from his mother's death. And from there, you know, he's been on a crazy spiral. But, you know, genius is nothing but a stone throw away from being psychotic, right? And so I believe that it is always that fine line that he dances and he slips to both sides. In listening to the Ye versus the People, I think what I found most enlightening about his point of views was that he put it more in a space of he is trying to love everybody and wants to stop being in a space of acting like it's us versus them, and wants to get more in a space of we should all love each other and figure out how to work with each other. And that his feelings were more on I stepped out of I wanted to I was in a bad space because I was so worried about the limelight. And now, you know, I'm more comfortable with myself. And that's why if you've seen pictures of him lately, he's gained weight. He, you know, while I'm sure that clothing probably costs more than everything that we have on combined in our on the podcast.
That $2 cotton he getting out there selling for $300, man.
Still, you know, he's still saying that that's him showing his comfort in his own skin. So there are pieces of his evolution at the end of the day, whether it's a good or bad evolution, you know, we're still here to find out. But I never sell Kanye short on the element of publicity stunts, I guess is the biggest way, the easiest way to put it, that at the end of the day, this is for the publicity of whatever his next move is. Cause I hear he has a lot of things. He's trying to release some new streaming service. Of course, he's got clothing and he's got, you know, all types of things that Kanye actually has a lot of interesting and amazing ideals as far as society bases to help increase the society. But he's also obviously got a lot of mental health issues.
I don't know if he has a lot of mental health issues, man. I can't say that. I think he does have some mental health issues. I just think he's dealing with them in his own very transparent manner. We all know Kanye is very honest, and we all know Kanye he says what he feels. And so when he started talking about the emotional state he was in, and he starts dealing with the death of his mother, and I guess going through the stages so publicly up to this point, I really feel like that's the driving force, because again, Kanye's always been so honest. I don't discount the fact that there's a little bit of a publicity stunt there, because he does have an album coming soon. He is producing albums from several prolific artists at this point in time. So he needs that buzz to generate the revenue for all of those other ventures. But has he done too much to affect the people that he claims he's trying to save?
I seriously doubt it. I mean, at the end of the day, unfortunately, society is fickle, right? It's just like what I say about Miami sports fans. They're fair weather. When it's going good, we're there. When it's going bad, we're gonna act like, you know, hey, you're horrible. But I guarantee if people still listen to R. Kelly music, you know, that it isn't like he's been swept away from the radio and he's not going to be heard anymore. I heard Step in the Name of Love, you know, the other day. That it's I think what's done in the dark comes to light. None of us understand and know the pressures of having all of your issues in the public eye the way that he does. And we've all had our dark times. That imagine those moments being broadcast to the world and how you would feel and what you would react to, that's the type of things that are, you don't know how that can break you, and especially in the way that it comes, that you don't know what the effects of that can be. And so it's hard to understand and be able to, qualify or say, hey, nah, he's just a racist now, or he's just, he's a coon. Nobody knows what's in this man's head. Do I agree with it? No, of course not. I'm not wearing no MAGA hat anytime soon. You know what I mean? But
so you gotta look at it. So I had to go back and just pull the lyrics because I heard it yesterday, but I had a whole bunch of stuff going on. I couldn't really focus on. I couldn't listen to it. I heard it, but I couldn't listen to it. But it was a couple out to me. It's really interesting that he chose to be that conversation song because it's been about 45 and his position up there ever since before the election. So I think just that marriage of them two on the track itself was like brilliant. Yeah, got to give a man credit where credit's due. But the one thing I had to go look it up. The one line that stood out to me that made me even go further was he was talking about. See, that's the problem with this damn nation. All blacks got to be Democrats, man. We ain't made it off the plantation. So he uses some other choice words in there. But if you go further down and we talk about where he was at and what mental state he was in, I mean, he tells us. Then one day I was like, F it, I'm going to do me. I was in a sunken place and then I found the new me. Not worried about some image that I got to keep up. A lot of people agree with me, but they're too scared to speak up. So we all know that the color of our skin doesn't dictate our political party, even though a lot of people think it should. And if you think historically, now I got to go fact check because I had this conversation years ago. The Democratic Party, everything used to be reversed.
Exactly.
So African Americans weren't Democrats. The Republican Party was what they followed as a culture, as a practice. But we know in theory, not every black person votes one way. But then we do demonize people who don't have our same political views. But then we also got to take an account for people's views are swayed by, of course, by their family, by their surroundings, but also by their financial status and what they got to gain aligned to those political views. So when this man is speaking about everything, I see everything. And like one of the things he's talked about, y'all been leading with hate. See, I just approach it different. Like a gang truce, the first blood to shake a Crip's hand. I know everybody's emotional. Is it better if I rap about crack, huh? Because it's cultural, or how I'm about to shoot you, or F your B, or how I'm about all this Gucci because I'm effing rich. Like I want to believe that we always talk about embracing and trying to figure out another way to handle situations. And I got to give it to the man as far as I want to believe that he's trying to do something greater good that we just don't understand. We just can't see.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point, is that it's when you made a bunch of great points, because listening to that song, the fact that he chose T.I. to be the antagonist in the song, in a sense, I don't even know if I want to say antagonist, but his counterpart. Yeah. I'm very curious to know how that song, like the recording process, were they in a room together? How did that go down? Because it flowed so well. It was a great like back and forth, and it was so true from each side that was awesome. But again, the points that he made and kind of, yeah, I totally see what you said. But what do you want me to rap about? What do you want? How do you want me to? You want me to be like everybody, or you want me to be in this space of money, cash, hoes, or do you like? I'm trying. Some of the times it takes that something different that is crazy at first, but there's a greater goal and plan on what the future holds. And so, like I said, as a Kanye stan, it's hurtful for me to want to put him in a space of Kunye when I know and understand. Well, I won't even say I fully understand, but I know and have seen his genius. Mike, you look like you holding back a lot back there.
So is it similar to the, I don't even know the song, the Joan or something, with the video with the white guy using the word nigger?
You talking about the Joyner Lucas joint where they had the
Yeah.
conversation?
So it's similar to that in thought, in terms of just being so much shock value that you actually have to have a discussion about it. So 'cause I can think from there, I know a lot of people were sending out the video like, hey, check out this video. And it took me about 3 times to actually get to the part where I realized, hey, there's another side to this at the end. Because the white he using it so much, he talking about Trump. It was like, wait a minute, is this a whole rap about Trump? And then actually, once you get through it, you kind of realize it's a discussion about black people. And it was actually, from what y'all said, done by a black guy. So is this similar in terms of?
Yes and no. I mean, Kanye's wasn't for this Kanye verse. The people wasn't for the shock value as much as it was to me the response of the hate that he's been receiving ever since people have seen him walking around with his "Make America Great Again" hat. And pretty much, and the funny thing is, it's not like he's condoning everything that Donald Trump does or is trying to act like Donald Trump is an amazing president. He's simply saying that I'm willing to be friends with him. I don't agree with everything that he does and how he approaches stuff, but I would rather be friends and figure out how to work things out and create a better space than I would want to just sit here in a space of I hate you and you're horrible and wrong. And so it's a different point of view. And in using T.I., just like BJ said, has been a strong advocate. And I encourage you guys to watch Total Segue, Rapture on Netflix. It has it's a music series. They have Logic, Nas, T.I., 2 Chainz, Rhapsody, and A Boogie with the Hoodie. But they're like hour-long, like mini docs on portions of each of these artists' lives. But each of them allowed the artist to kind of take their piece in the direction that they wanted to. T.I.'s was really awesome because he had his moment of clarity and realization that he has to be a stronger revolutionary in a sense and be able to speak up against the injustices. He talks about when I believe maybe Trayvon, if not Sterling, whatever rally that he wound up being, him and his son there were pictures of him and his son like in this like march that was going on from once one of those situations had happened. And he talks about how he was just riding around, was hearing everything on the through the radio, started feeling emotions, heard that the march was, close to him while he was riding around with his son, and literally just pulled over, got into the march, started, next thing you know, he's leading the march. And then he was like, we marched to the highway. They cut us off from the highway. We went somewhere else. And then when we went somewhere else, all of a sudden, everybody looked at me and said, what we doing next? And he was like, I didn't know what to do next. And so in his story, he goes to all of these leaders, Harry Belafonte and civil rights movement leaders from back in the day, and kind of gets their perspective on how do you start that process and what that process is about. So seeing T.I. in the space of being able to have that conversation with Kanye, not only being a great MC, but more importantly, being able to be passionate about the subject matter and give it to Kanye like it is, and really a true perspective of, what Black people are feeling right now, in the sense of feeling betrayed almost. Like, what are you doing? How is this possible?
So I gotta ask the question, because it wasn't this past week when Kanye came out and said he supported Trump. It's been a long time ago. He just rocked the hat, to my knowledge, this week. Am I correct?
No, well,
it's been a while.
Did he actually come out and say he supported Trump, or did he do the same thing Steve Harvey and the rest of us, or some of us did?
No, he did say, he said something along the lines of Trump
back during the election, yeah.
But he said, when he said the piece, he said, Trump is my friend. I don't agree with everything that he does, but
That was
yes,
recent.
that's my friend. And it was the fact that he was wearing the MAGA hat, and that he doesn't look like a superstar because he's comfortable, he's gained weight, he's looks like he's chilling. But I'll tell you what, them bars was cold to me on that weird little beat that they have that everybody's been remixing and making him talk crap. I thought them bars was cold as all get out, and the beat was weird, and I was trying to figure out initially how he was even going to catch it. But yay is yay. So it's definitely interesting to watch it play out. I'm tuned in, and that's who it was. Snoop made a great comment. He said, if you take Jay-Z and Kanye, you can see the difference of, and I'm totally just jumping the quote all around the place, but pretty much that you can see the difference of the strength of a strong wife. So taking Beyonce and Kim K, and as far as what they've been able to do. And by the way, Kanye had if you go to TMZ, you can hear Kanye's response to Snoop Dogg, where he went off on Snoop and said some very choice words about how he was in. I'll have, he literally says, I'll have my man Trump build a wall around the LBC, and you'll be stuck in the LBC. Wow. Just a crip in the LBC.
Yeah, he's super protective of his wife and family.
To see and understand the mental space in the again, like I said, mental health is a true issue, and it's out there. But Kanye, yo, please get it together, brother. Maybe have together, we just don't know. We're all staying tuned.
And I think my issue comes in kind of what Carol was talking about earlier. Like, it's immediate. Kanye's response. T.I. seems to be addressing the centuries of issues that are happening within the community. So if you have that platform, it's a little bit of a responsibility for you to understand who you represent, and those that kind of don't truly use that responsibility for the majority of the people. I think you get the response that he's getting from those that are like, really, man? Like, so few of us get to that platform where we can speak and have an impact on the masses. And you choose.
So then we go back to the whole Colin Kaepernick and not everybody supporting him and his stance. And I mean, just based on what that comment right there, then
right.
So in that case, we're calling everybody else who didn't support Coons as well.
No, I'm not saying, I'm not going to the level of Coon. I'm just saying that's the reason why you get the response to why aren't you supporting, because it's not just the immediacy of the discussion. It's the years of oppression for us in this country, and for you to be aware and not, if you're not going to support it, stay quiet.
But I think you bring up a good point, because I was going to ask the question, the reason that Kanye's approach, be it as unorthodox as it is not well received. Could it be due to the amount of anger and frustration amongst the people based on the many, many years of oppression, where you have this guy who's essentially trying to cross the picket line, be the one to, build the bridge, start the truce and the peace and love talk amongst a group of people who know what the system is, know what the system has done, and are not keen on, the system the way it is. Like, I don't necessarily want to work with these people. I want what I want right now. So is that the lack of open-mindedness because of the anger and oppression that we've received over the years?
But I think it's on the reverse, because you understand that the people that you're working with have no interest in it. So as Trump supporters have no interest, won't say all, just say majority, have no interest in mending fences with blacks, period. That is evidence in everything that he has done from the beginning of his election all the way through. Whether he himself has a different mindset is completely between Donald Trump and whoever his, or whatever he is. But just the majority of his supporters are not interested in shaking hands on the other side of the bridge. You may go to the other side of the bridge, but you're not coming back. That's just the feeling that you have. So as a mass of people on our end, it's like, why would you step out to say you're trying to mend there? There are other opportunities for you to bring things together with people of different races, of different cultures, to where you can do that in a setting, but just not Trump. It's too far of an extreme when there's so much middle ground that can be done to increase and have a mass swell of people of different color, of Asian, of Hispanic, of whatever cultures you want to bring together. It is way more opportunity for you to do that than to say we are bringing this group together of people than to go make America great again, especially with all the historical references of that to the Klan and all the other stuff. I mean, you're wearing a hat, not even understanding, I'm assuming, the meanings behind the things that you're doing. So maybe it does speak to Fresh's point about mental health. Or is it just I'm so into myself as Kanye that I really don't care, so I'm gonna do what I want to do when I want to do it, which has kind of been some things that have been in his personality in the past. Or is it just like you said, all publicity to get us to talk about it in order to go buy his album and kind of do all the other stuff? But I truly believe like him stepping into that space is the issue for the feedback. Not him saying, I want us to all work again. Jesus Walks was awesome. People bought into it. Regardless of how out of the box it was, he got people to come together. This one, not quite sure.
Well, I think it's just like Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, right? You have this strong position of how much that they do behind closed doors that people don't pay attention to. And I think that's the same issue with Kanye. Kanye gets the light shined on all of the crazy, outlandish Kanye stuff that he does, but they don't talk about all of the philanthropic adventures, ventures that he does and how much he tries to impact that community in Chicago and all of the things. One of the craziest quotes that he had too from this week was Obama was president for 8 years. Chicago hasn't changed at all. And so it's those that he has woke moments and he has, sunken moments where it's a crazy cycle. But I don't believe that as a whole, the light is shined on everything that he does. And so people have this perception that he's so arrogant and such a, I only care about self, and don't really see what makes him so psychotic is he really does care immensely about society, but he just feels the pain of not being able to accomplish the things that he wants to at the level he thinks will truly make an impact as rapidly as he wants to. For wrong or right, I feel that's kind of like the space that he lays in, where it's not about him being some type of narcissistic, psychopath 1,000%. It's that he has a strength. Again, if you watch some of these interviews when he's allegedly going crazy, but get past him yelling and listen to, some of the things that he's, proposing and what he's tried to break into in those different conversations, you see that it's more about the desire and want and need to help, but he has a different brain. Again, I go back to saying genius is a stone throw away from psychotic, that they play in the same space because your brain power and energy is so rapid that it's an interesting movie to watch play out at the end of the day. I'm very curious to see where he takes it. If it is while anything I think he does is part of a publicity stunt in a sense, just because he is famous, so he is going to get publicity. I'm curious to see the power and impact he can create off of whatever he is, cooking in his bag. And I'm not just talking music.
I'll say one thing: whatever he cooking, we eating the soup. So
hey,
I'm sure we're not the only ones having this discussion for the past couple of days or past couple of weeks, however long it was.
Hey,
and if you said they put his picture at the Broccoli Fest,
yeah. So when
you figured, and that's already another part where now people that were there have seen it and they have some reaction. And I think that's
absolutely. Like even the host,
reaction.
I mean, he was very adamant about his point of view and on the Kanye West path. And then you had Nipsey throw him up there. But I think that's exactly what the point of the song and everything was. Where, I mean, if you listen to it at the end of the song, they just cut it. And, the final words are let the people talk, to start the discussion on the approaches. And if you listen to the song, I mean, I feel like one, Kanye made a lot of prevalent points. T.I. made a lot of emotional statements and generalizations. And so when I'm looking at the back and forth between the two, and I'm looking for T.I. to address from the intolerant standpoint, I don't necessarily know that he got his point across. And towards the end of the song, I feel like Kanye actually got him to feel like, okay, Ye, if you're going to take this path, I hope you know what you're doing, because it is controversial. It could be detrimental, the path that you're going on and the people that you're playing with. It's almost like playing with the devil.
And I think T.I. does a great position of, giving, again, like I said, that, overrounding sound of the Black community right now, and overwhelming feeling of kind of the space and how they approach it. But again, that's why the song was so genius to me, because that's exactly the way that they feel. But just like you said, Brett, you are coming from so much emotion in letting it, in a sense, shade your ability for true judgment and understanding. And so it's, again, a very interesting song. It's like I said, I'm very curious how that song was produced, because how rapidly he got it out and in the way that it goes, it's not like it sounds like a real conversation. It's one of those, I believe, the greatest MCs, like a Jay-Z. I feel when Jay-Z rhymes, I don't feel like he's rhyming. I feel like he's talking and his speech just happens to rhyme, and it's like that type of feeling where the passion that they have back and forth, but it seems like it was almost just like a phone call that happened to have a beat behind it. Like it was that type of movement in that conversation.
Great. So now there's a little silence. I made a grave mistake by coming outside today. Oh man, it is. I'm trying to lighten the air up a little bit, but it's cold.
And we tried to tell him that it is not spring up north. Don't let him fool you. He thought he was making this amazing. You see his lenses shaded up and everything. That little fake generic sun. That's really just a big spotlight he's got out there.
So yeah, that was it. Sorry, bro. I didn't mean to pull it off, but I had to throw in when I can. I couldn't get in at any point in time before I got a chance to get in there.
We needed that lighter cold moment anyway.
Hi, I just wanted to make a really, really quick point that I heard Brett mention the thing about Kanye speaking more factual and T.I. speaking more out of emotion. But it's funny how he says that when Kanye's premise is emotion. He's acting out of forgiveness and love. So I think that's kind of ironic. I think we have to be careful here. Just because he's being more assertive and being more rebellious doesn't necessarily mean that he's being more like factual. I think Kanye is going through this transition where he's dealing with the loss of his mother. I mean, if you just watch him over time, it's extremely obvious. And like there are certain phases when it comes to like accepting like death and grieving. And, one of those phases is anger, and then one of them is acceptance. And with acceptance, you try to make things make sense for you, and you decide to kind of deal with the very thing that, oh, I thought you did that for me. This is Kristen, guys.
This is Chris. Who are you, Chris? They can't hear me.
Hey, Chris.
I'm Brett's girlfriend.
Oh, okay. It's the one I speak of so highly most times on the podcast.
Most times?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, but y'all feel what I'm saying though? Like, and the thing is also we have to be really careful what we allow to distract us, because I can hear everything that you guys are talking about, but the timing in this is everything. When you have like Beyonce and that like that pride, the inner prideful thing that's taking place, or like J. Cole and the brilliance that he dropped a couple weeks ago. It's a lot of internal pride and a lot of internal evolving going on. And then you have someone like Kanye he's such a narcissist. He cannot control himself. And he could have done a lot more for the city of Chicago. But what Kanye really kind of did was marry the mask, or marry the face of what really kind of killed his mother. And what we're dealing with is that like psychological turmoil publicly that he's going through, and he's trying to spread that burden on everyone else. But we can't let what he's dealing with his personal, with his issues with his mom and all that dealing, kind of overflow to what we are dealing with as a community. Like, they're separate, and I think just stay woke, I guess. I talked more than I wanted to talk.
Amen.
It was well welcomed. Well welcomed.
So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is my lady, Chris.
Just wrapped it up with stay woke. I like it.
Y'all. Don't put that on the TI.
Nah, Tip is very emotional himself.
Can I get an amen?
Kanye's out of control.
He's been out of control. Kanye's Kanye. You gotta love him.
You gonna get a Kanye passion.
Coach K, no rebuttal? Or you good, man? Asher, what's up?
Yo, me.
Ash in the building.
So I definitely don't have a rebuttal. What I thought was interesting and kind of in line with my thought is that we're talking about Kanye, and here's my thing. I don't know what goes on with the CEO of Amazon. I don't know what's going on in the life with the CEO of Apple. Mark Zuckerberg, as much as you hear his name, you don't know anything about his private life.
And look at how
So
crazy he looks.
here's my thing. These folks have products, and put your product out, let your product be good. The rest of what's going on with you, that's not my business, because all that is distraction for me. So Kanye, look, I don't want to be insensitive, but your mom died in 2007. And look, my mom is still alive. I don't know what that's like, but you have all the resources in the world to get the help that you need. So go get the help that you need. Stop soliciting me to be part of your therapy, because I'm not part of your therapy. And that's where I stand on it. And that's why it's just like, look, this is just distraction. What else is going on in the world that we're not paying attention to, that we're not talking about right now? There's so much more going on, but we're trapped in Kanye and Bill Cosby. And it's like, look, I understand Bill Cosby was an icon at some point, but at this point now, it's just like, okay, look, y'all not gonna give us all the facts. Y'all not gonna tell us why we going back to talk about this dude. I'm good. I don't want to continue to contribute to the media trap, to the trap of our people. This is all we caught up in. So at some point, we have to stop giving them this type of power where they can distract us and they can keep us wrapped in certain subjects for a week, 2 weeks. And then I guarantee you, once all this quiet down, there's going to be something else that's going to come out.
And Kay, I think that goes back to BJ's point when he said the Harvey Weinsteins, everything else, they stopped listening, so they just turned on something else. And we're going to keep feeding, or are feeding the conversation of, oh, it's going forward. So your social media is playing in, and it's like, okay, this is hot news. So you're correct. If you want it to go away, let it go away.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein, like that. You don't see people still talking about that?
No, not at all. But hopefully, like I said, with the Bill Cosby thing, that trend just doesn't stop there. But moving right along. Faison, we want to stay with you, man. We got to get your corner in this week because we don't know when the next time is we're going to be able to see you, bro.
Hey, listen, traveling is crazy. I tried my hardest to do that. And last week, I couldn't, or week before last, I couldn't make it because we did an amazing gala for Nigerian Healthcare Foundation. So it was an awesome thing. And we went until 4 a.m. because that's how Nigerians do it. And I turned my phone on when you guys called me. I was like, nah. Just nah, I can't even open my mouth right. I can't talk. Just can't. So this week it's going to be something just kind of to the point on my personal development path. But when looking for a home, and this keeps taking any way you want it to, but when looking for a home, make sure you see it in the daytime and see it at night. So like we talk about now through Kanye West's vision or Kanye West's thought or Bill Cosby, you got to see it from both sides. You can't just go in one way and think that's where you're going to get it. You got to look at it from both angles. So that's my corner this week.
I'm glad Chris was listening, man. She's been house hunting for the last, so she knows what to do once we get out there. Excuse me. Hey, anybody got anything else they want to add before we go ahead and wrap this thing up?
I think K kind of did it.
I'm trying to be like, oh, wait.
Stay woke.
Stay woke. Easy.
Yeah, just like Chris said, stay woke. Let's leave on that note.
That's all the way back. That's all the way back from do the right thing.
Right.
I think the biggest thing though is what Carol said, man. Don't fall victim to the distraction. We talk about these things. We had these conversations, these Sunday morning conversations, because it's prevalent and it's relevant in our society. But don't let it trap your mind, man. Don't let it trap what you have going on. Don't let it trap your being, because at the end of the day, we got to continue to push forward the best way we know how, whether it be through Kanye's unorthodox method, whether it be through Black Lives Matter or T.I. and the intolerance, man. We have to continue to push forward and move the culture forward and the people forward.
Yes, sir.
Church membership is on the steady decline. Don't become a member of the new congregation.
There it is. There it is. Remember, you can get this podcast anywhere and everywhere. iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud. What's that other? Spotify, all your podcatchers. Make sure you watch the videos on YouTube. Watch Faison as he's out there shivering in the cold.
No, that's just me moving. I'm not sure.
Oh, you just dancing?
Yeah,
that's what that is. You just happy dance?
Lying, America.
No, I'm definitely not.
Just
sure.
told you how cold it was.
It
Don't
is
let
cold.
him lie to
I
you.
can hold on to
Trying to
it. I'm not
Kanye
super
you.
cold yet.
Trying to Kanye you.
Easy, man. We'll catch you all next week here, but that's it, man, on the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but the views are amazing.
The 13th floor. The 13th floor.